Hi, my name is Johnny Gifford, and you're watching another episode of BCTV's Open Studio. I am very pleased to be joined today by some of the cast and crew for Nightmare at Nana's, which is a new film that is currently in pre-production that I'm very excited about. Here with me is Austin Rice, the writer, director, and producer of the film. We also have David Szehi, who's going to be the associate producer, special effects, and he'll be playing the role of Officer Harlow. And finally, down the line here, we have Lloyd, who'll be playing the role of Nick, one of the main roles in the film. So this is a feature-length film that's all, like New England, Southern Vermont based. It's really cool to see it all kind of coming together. And I'm excited to just learn a little bit more about it and how, people can get involved with this. We don't want to give away too much about the film because it's like really a wild ride. And I feel like any details you give away are just like, you just shouldn't, honestly, with this film in particular. But with that being said, Austin, this is kind of, this started as your baby. I want you to give us maybe a brief synopsis of what this film is about or what it means to you.
Sure. So this film is a horror comedy, and it follows two brothers, Nick and Simon, and they grew up being in a band together, and they both had that shared dream, and then as the years went by, Simon left the band to pursue local politics instead, but Nick refuses to give up on his dream and continues on, even though the prospects seem to be dwindling with every year. And so in one last-ditch effort to get some success with this dream, Simon agrees to drive Nick to a big audition with the maestro, who is a well-known and respected music producer. But on their journey to get there, they become stranded in the woods. No car, no cell phone service. And so they end up taking refuge with this nice old lady who goes by Nana. But little do they know, there's a psychopath lurking in the woods, waiting to strike. And over the course of their night with Nana, things just go on a steady decline, and soon it's all hell breaking loose.
That's awesome. And yeah, I think you do a good job of giving a synopsis without giving away too many of the intersections, the details, the extras, because there's so many extra bits. So now that we know a little bit about the film, I want to maybe learn a little bit more about each of you and maybe your backgrounds, how you work together, where you're coming from. So Austin, you've written screenplays before, you've produced films before. This is your first feature, right?
Yes, yeah, I've produced a feature film before with one of the producers on this, Sam McFarland. We just wrapped on his film. But this will be the first feature that I am the writer and director on. And so it's drawing on what I felt like really worked well with some of my past work, the Little Balzac films in particular. And then some stuff with Sam and Sasha, that feature from Sam McFarland I just talked about. And kind of combining all that stuff along with inspirations from various things in my life and from all the stuff I grew up watching, and to make something that's different than what I have done, but kind of carries some of the energy that was working well with that.
It totally does, like, upon my first read, it had some like strong Little Balzac vibes, one of your previous films, but then it just really expands into worlds beyond that. So it's cool to hear where your inspirations were kind of coming from there. Dave, how and when did you get involved with this film?
Well, Austin contacted me. We've known each other for a couple of years. Was very excited about his new script and really wanted to get together the people, the crew, and the cast and crew of the local area. We've known each other for a few years, been following each other's careers in film, and always hoped to work together. And when the opportunity came up, he sent me the script, and I thought it was great. I got a really good feeling about it. I really like spraying blood on people. It's just my kink, I guess. But it's great to be able to get paid to do that, and more blood on, we need more blood. Where's Dave? That's my favorite thing to hear. I can make people look really ugly and dead and gross, but I can't make anybody look pretty.
You just have a figuratively morbid curiosity.
Yes, very morbid.
I would say.
Right. Literally.
Yeah.
Cameron, how did you get involved with this film?
So I've known Austin since high school. We went to school together, and him and my brother used to do all these like ridiculous bloody home movies with like killer rabbits. So like he involved my brother Michael, who's going to be playing my on-screen brother Simon in this one, and then he'd like recruit my dad. So like the whole family has been a part of the Austin Rice Productions, and I never got the chance. I was like, you got to put me in a film. So Balzac 2, when he was writing that, he's like, I got a character for you. And I was like, oh, cool, you wrote a character specifically for me. And he gives me Florida, who is just this psychopathic, drug-induced, psychotic, violent criminal based off of the Florida Man Tales. And I said, that's it. That's perfect. That's my role. So we did Balzac 2 together, and it was just amazing. Had such a good time. And then, you know, over the last couple of years, as he's been workshopping different ideas, we've just been in contact. Him reaching out and saying, like, this is the character I'm thinking. And so I think when he finally started to solidify it, he reached out and let me know, hey, I want you to be Nick, and I want your brother to do it. And I was just like, yes, like, you know, I love working with this dude, and I love my brother. And so it's like such a cool a way to come together with the things I'm excited about.
So it's really your second film with Austin, but more so an entire lifetime of experiences just with your family in Austin, and just generally like creatively being involved with each other, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And David and Austin, this is your first project working together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So it's a smattering of the new and the old, which I think was just lending itself to some really cool developments, I think. Who are maybe some other like notable people that are like working on the film, maybe who are supporting the film that you have in mind, Austin?
So we have 3 other producers on the project. There's Angus Reed, who I've collaborated with on several projects before this, and he's, in addition to being a producer, he's the director of photography and handling the visual effects. So we're going to try to do as much of it practically as possible, because this is like a homage to the 80s era. But given that we have modern technology, we'll touch up things when deemed necessary, or might just take it to that extra step of looking good. So Angus will handle that sort of stuff. And then we've got Sam McFarland. He's going to be another producer on the project. El Carrada is another producer. And so that's like our core production team. And Dave is additionally an associate producer on the project. And then we have other actors. Like Cameron said, Michael Lloyd's going to play our other lead character. We have Rosa Palmieri from the Vermont Suitcase Company. She's going to play a role. Stephanie Ward, who is kind of a seasoned horror film actress from New York. She's going to come in and play the role of Stella, who Cameron's character has a feud with, because just not giving away too much, that she replaces you in your band, which is quite a tense moment.
She's a very nice person. It's going to be very hard to be mad at her.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly didn't even realize you played Florida in Little Balzac 2 until right now, so I think you can do a good job of breaking the feud.
It's going to be different.
Yeah. And then it's quite a large kind of ensemble cast. We've got several other people. There's Josh Cunningham, who I've worked with on lots of projects as well. He's going to play a role of Bobby, who is a mute, kind of backwoods person with his psychically, his clairvoyant little sister, Aurora, who is an actor, Annie Tisdale from Boston, who has been in many short films and some TV and other films. And she's coming up to play that role. And then we've got kind of a bunch of other smaller roles as well. And the role of Nana, we have a letter of intent from a notable 80s scream queen, but we cannot announce her name at this time. We have to finish our fundraising first, but she loves the project and loves the role and wants to do it. So we just have to fundraise and then she'll sign on.
That's awesome.
She's my favorite.
So I got the chance to read the script last week, and I was really blown away by it. I didn't expect it to go where it did at all, even a little bit. And I know like some of your previous work, I'm not really in tune with all of it, but I definitely have a good taste. it feels like a culmination sort of all your efforts making films up till now. And again, as we mentioned, it's your first feature. So I just want to learn more about like how all of this energy is going to come to a head. I want to start maybe from like an acting perspective and talk to you a little bit, Cameron. The character of Nick seems like a kind of, on the surface, like just a basic stoner band dude, but he's actually like quite complex. He goes through a lot of just character development in this story, I think. So how do you sort of channel these different emotions, these experiences of a fictitious character and the perspectives to bring it to life?
Yeah, I think, you know, kind of going back to your statement of like, this has been a culmination. I don't think I can like separate my process of like figuring out the character without thinking about like Austin. Like we work really well together in kind of deciding what is the journey of this person, where are they coming from, who are they, what drives them. I think with, you know, Balzac 2, it was, this is Florida Man. So it's like, it was very just character actor driven. Like, I am psychotic, I want drugs and money. So it was like a pretty simple and straightforward guy to figure out. And, you know, stepping into this project, I at first kind of had that mindset. I was like, oh, he's kind of a loser, he's a stoner. He totally doesn't understand that like the time's up, dude. Like shit or get up. I'm sorry. Crap or get off the pot. You know, like if you haven't made it yet, then you're not gonna make it. But the more that I've like thought about it, you know, this, I think he's pretty relatable. Like everyone's come from a place where it's like, I want to make my dream a reality. A lot of people have the opportunity to either see it happen or recognize that, you know, I missed the boat, time to move on. And I think that he's just so driven and so like impassioned by the idea of succeeding that like, you know, even though on the outside we're all looking at this idiot stoner who can't figure it out, for him, it's like, this is the only thing that I have. And it's like, you know, if I can make my dream come true, if I can become this ultimate rock star, not only will I fulfill my dream, I can win the respect of my brother back. We'll be a family again. He'll respect me. I'll respect myself. So it is like, I don't know. It's like it's a lot deeper than just that guy who's reaching for the bong on the couch and likes to headbang.
You're channeling some very real, very human desires through the lens of like, I just need to succeed at this music thing.
Totally. And, you know, I don't want to build this guy up as like the super deep guy, because when it comes down to it, the base is I want to rock out with my bro and become famous.
But you have to get into the mindset of the forward-facing, you know, how he's perceived socially, but also the innermost way of his thinking, I think. So it is a little bit deep for you to be able to do that. Yeah,
I think I really want to make him feel like a tangible person and not just a Jack Black character, which like praise Jack Black.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No shade on him, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now I want to move a little bit more to like the effects department, Dave. You know, there's a lot going on here in terms of the action and the various, you know, on-screen effects and just props and the way things are going to look in motion or still. Right. You have a lot of work cut out for you. I'm curious if you could speak just a little bit to your process for how you're going to do that. Yeah. You could maybe use a couple of examples of very specific things that you think you're going to do in this film, or just broadly some of your process in general.
That's literally all I think about all day long when I'm driving or going to bed or when I'm making coffee in the morning or whatever. It's like I'm just constantly thinking, because you know, I know directors and filmmakers need options, because it's always, filmmaking is, I mean, sure, okay, you have a script, but it's constantly evolving and changing. It's a fluid situation, you know, and you kind of have to go with the flow. And even when it comes down to the day of the shooting, something doesn't show up, or someone doesn't show up, or something didn't work, or something got forgotten at home, or whatever, and you have to like pull stuff out of your butt using materials at hand, So obviously, as much time as possible to plan several options and have things ready at the ready, because if something doesn't work, you have to be able, and the camera's rolling, you have to be able to make it happen.
Part of our process is Dave and I are kind of looking at each of the major effect sequences in the film, because there's definitely, I put a lot of thought into having each kill be kind of unique and impressive and different than the last one, because with this sort of film, if you just have someone comes out of the woodwork and stabs them with a knife every time, then it's like, okay, I'm bored with this. It's got to be something that sticks with you and takes you by surprise each time. So we're kind of looking at each situation and thinking about, okay, does this make sense for a more DIY approach, that Dave has a lot of experience in and can like do really, really good work with? Or does this make sense as a VFX situation for Angus to take that one on? Or does this make sense for us to, hire the artist that Dave mentioned and have like put a lot of our budget into a certain few effects that will really kind of like steal the show and, stick with you in those moments?
Yeah.
The look will be a mixture.
Yeah, and the look that the director that you want to see as far as cartoonish violence, with garden sprayer of blood, and just cartoonish, or hyper realism, which is amazing, but also very, very expensive. Because you have to, like, for instance, just making a fake head is going to cost thousands of dollars, because someone, if you want it to look hyper realistic, has to punch every hair to match the actor, every eyelash, every eyebrow, and it takes a lot. People are like, it's just a fake head, but if you have zero money, I could recycle one of my other old fake heads and make it look somewhat similar from far away, but yeah, it's amazing sometimes how I love the tricks, of the trade to make things look really good. And it's always, since I was little, I always wanted to figure out how they did everything, and it's so cool. It is like a magic trick, smoke and mirrors.
That's right. So Austin, we sort of started this bit about this being sort of a culmination of efforts up till now. Right. So how do you think that this differs from some of your previous work? Yeah.
I'd say it definitely has a different tone. Like the Lil Balzac films were kind of, psychedelic stoner comedy was kind of the baseline. And then with 2, we added in this like gritty bank heist action scenario. And so, a lot of that was fun, and I'm proud of those films. I wanted to do something different. Like each film I make, I want to be different than the last thing I did, so I don't get pigeonholed and like, that guy does, that type of movie every time. So I'm taking some elements that, like I said, that worked well with those, but it's got a different tone, it's got a different approach, and we're definitely, we're fundraising for the first time. Everything I've done to this point has been out of pocket from Angus and I. And so really putting everything we have into this project collectively to make it as a big and impressive film as we possibly can manage. And yeah, I think that it's got layers to it. It's not just horror, it's not just comedy. There's drama in there. There's like some sincere character arcs in there, and showcasing Vermont is like the Vermont landscape is a focus on this one as well, because we want to really take advantage and show the beautiful state we live in, because there's not a whole lot of filmmaking happening around here. There's some, but when you say you're a filmmaker around here, people are, okay, so you go to LA a lot, right? Or you go to New York, but it's like we've got a lot to work with here, and it's fun to really utilize that to its fullest potential.
And trying to utilize the natural elements of it, because there's a lot of film happening in Boston too, but a lot of it's happening on sound stages. And that's all well and good, but like you want to showcase what is actually here.
Exactly.
And I want to get a little more into that too, just about how New England life has inspired this film, from the locations to the story to your own life. How has growing up in New England shaped this story?
Oh gosh, I'd say that there's there's elements of New England life in that. Not only does the character of Simon he's joined the select board, so there's kind of a shout out to our local politics scene there.
Very New England.
Get more Vermonty than a select board meeting.
Yeah. So there's that, and you have the dynamic of the public and the select board, but there's also, I think, overall a feeling of kind of assuming the best in people that's present throughout the film, and that has good moments and it has drawbacks, and so we explore that, and just kind of the hospitality that you get from the people in Vermont, and
rural.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
Yes.
I think too, like
Local color.
the idea of I think about Vermont nature, and in one light it can be this beautiful, lovely, inviting walk in the woods, right? But in a different light, or as the darkness falls, all of a sudden this place that was beautiful and inviting, like you said, becomes this eerie and sinister. And I think, New England in general, what better place to have a horror movie?
It's always pretty spooky.
Yeah, Salem, whatever, man. Come to Brattleboro.
You're anticipating production next year. So what is your sort of anticipated timeline for this moving forward?
Yeah. So we're, like you said, in active pre-production at this point, and we're going to be, finalizing locations and creating the effects work and stuff. And July is principal photography, and we're hoping and aiming and planning to shoot the whole film, maybe apart from a few insert shots here and there, in the month of July. And then past that, we'll be in post-production for a nice long while.
Yeah, we'll come back a couple years.
Yeah. My soft goal right now is for a Halloween 2026 release.
Cool.
Premiere at least. And then past that, we're looking at festivals and some sort of distribution, hopefully.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. There are a few good Vermont festivals too, and that's the biggest support network for filmmakers in New England is the many local film festivals that happen.
What I've seen over the past 20 years is there is this slowly move towards this art house horror, where it's not just this black sheep genre where it's only for blood and guts and gore and splatter. And I think with this film too, there is, with any of the Balzac films, we have this hero's journey, but the hero's Balzac. And so it doesn't matter what happens to the guy, because he's just going to be, it's all out the window in the end anyways. He's going to be right back where he started. But with a film like this, we have that horror and that gore and that splatter and but then there's also, like you said, that heart and that drama, and there is emotion, and there is movement of people making changes to better themselves and reconnecting. And I think it's not just horror and then art. It's both. And I think that's what I'm hoping to bring and be a part of with this too.
Yeah, definitely get that feeling.
Yeah, I get a good communal sense of trust and determination from you guys in this project, which I think is just a good sign. Yeah. Austin, how can people support this project?
Yeah, we are having our fundraising campaign kickoff event at 118 Elliott, November 15th, 7 p.m. in Brattleboro. And we would love to have people come there. And at that event, we'll have a table read of some select scenes from the film. We'll show clips of some of our past work and answer questions that the audience has about the project, and then just kind of wine and dine people as well. And and so at that night, we'll be also simultaneously launching our online aspect of the campaign, a Seed and Spark page. And Seed and Spark is a website dedicated towards crowdfunding indie films in particular. And so we'll launch that at the same time. So we're hoping to start really strong locally, get a nice foundation, and then boost it out in all directions online. And then we'll follow that event up with a second one, which is Saturday, November 23rd, also at 7 p.m. at the Hooker Dunham Theater in Brattleboro. We're having a double feature of the two little Balzac films. And that will be admission by donation, and all the proceeds go towards funding the production as well. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you have a good fundraising strategy. Like, you're really building it out, trying to bring people together, trying to make it a communal experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully, the people, you build it, the people will come.
Yeah.
I want to close this off with just something kind of fun, and I want you to each tell me one thing that you're really looking forward to in making this film. I don't know if anyone's got any clear ideas. It seems like you guys are thinking, but Austin, if there's one thing in your mind that you're just like, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah. I'd say most of all, I'm really excited to be working with the team that we've assembled because, like we mentioned, I kind of pulled people from different projects in different areas that I've worked with over the years, and then brought in some new people that I've wanted to work with before, and it just feels like a really powerful team. And coming from different backgrounds, but all really enthusiastic and invested and talented people. And so I just think we're gonna be really effective together and create something really, really special.
Dave, what's one thing you're really looking forward to?
Well, personally, working with my favorite scream queen from the 80s is just like a 15-year-old fanboy going crazy inside. But I guess my usual thing is getting to spray blood on people. That's just my thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. And Cam, what are you looking forward to?
I have I don't know, the list is so long. I think, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is working alongside my brother and Austin, watching those guys make those childhood films. It's kind of full circle right now. But I think the biggest thing is I'm excited to be challenged and have to rise up to that. I think that Austin has put in a ton of work, and this is a next level project for me, and I think for him and for everyone involved. And I just want to make sure that I'm showing up and bringing the energy and the passion that the project deserves. And that's what I'm excited for.
It's like an investment for every single person involved.
Yeah.
It's like an investment in not only a good time, but all of our futures working together. It's a great feeling to work on a crew, a good crew.
It's just your whole career ahead is at stake, no pressure.
I'm gonna make it. Yeah.
All right, we're talking to Cam, not Nick right now. Austin, would you mind maybe just talking or mentioning those other couple of dates that you mentioned for fundraising efforts before we close out, just so people know?
Sure. Okay, so November 15th, Friday, 118 Elliott, in Brattleboro, 7 p.m. is the fundraising kickoff event. November 23rd, which is a Saturday, also 7 p.m. at the Hooker Dunham Theater, is the Little Balzac double feature screening.
So if you're interested in supporting this film, then get those dates on your calendar for sure. I want to thank each of you, Cameron, David, and Austin, for being here and having a little chat today. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you,
Johnny.
It's been a blast.
Yeah, and thank you for watching another episode of BCTV's Open Studio, and we'll see you next time.
Nightmare Nanas.
Nightmare Nanas.